techniques in Illustrator in Photoshop to manipulate some imagery to create letterforms like this alphabet poster example. So the first thing to do is to go onto freeimages.com and find 2 images related to a particular theme. So I've searched a stationery theme. This is a website that has a lot of free images that are going to be suitable for this task. So I type my keyword, I click on the free imagery option, and I'm going to scroll down and have a look. The imagery that we would like is a full object that has a pretty plain background. So something like this would do, something like this. I saw an eraser down here that could be okay as well. So you want to click onto those and download them. Once you've got your imagery, we're going to go into Photoshop and we're going to go File, Open the 2 images that we've found. So mine was a JPEG file of an eraser, and then there was also a pencil. I'm going to go Open. So in Photoshop, we're going to delete the white backgrounds around our images. So we want to unlock the layer in our Layers panel. We also want to make sure our history view is open. So you can do that by going to Window, and make sure history is selected. And there we go. It's there for later. Okay, we're going to select the magic wand tool. So when I click on my white background, everything with a pixel that is related to where I clicked will be selected, and I can then delete the white background using the magic wand tool. Control D deselects, and then I'm going to use my eraser tool just here. I can change the size or the hardness of my eraser at the top option, and I'm going to erase any other information that's not relevant. So I just want the pencil by itself. Erase, erase, erase. I can get rid of that. Okay. So this checkered background means it's the transparency. So that's option 1 to delete your background. If I go back to history and go back to the beginning, I'm going to show you another option. Depending on what sort of image you've selected, we can use the Lasso tool as well. This is a good tool if you've got something that's quite colorful in the background. So I'm just going to click some anchor points around the image that I'd like to select. And you'll notice a little circle that comes back to the beginning. That means the entire object has been selected. Now I'm going to go over to my Paths window, which is next to my layers, and select the 4th icon across. So I'm going to load my work path, and then I'm going to click onto the icon that's next to that that says load path as a selection. So it should be highlighted like dotted ants now. I'm going to now go to select, click inverse. Everything opposite to what I selected should be highlighted now, and I'm going to press delete. Control D to deselect. So that's another option to get rid of the background. I now need to save this as a TIFF file. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and select TIFF at the bottom, pencil for alphabet. I've saved it in my images folder. I'm going to click Save. Yes. And I just need to click this Save Transparency box here, and then we're okay. Okay, so I've done that for my 2 images I would have had. I've got a pencil here and I've got an eraser. So I've done that for both. And now I'm going into Illustrator. And I'm going to open an A3 file in Illustrator. So this task, we're going to create a letter using the imagery, letter using 2 images, and a letter using part font, part image. So to do that, we need to go File, Place, and you need to find your TIFF files and place them in Illustrator. Click and drag to place and click and drag. Excellent. Image with the black arrow, and we want to delete the white background. So I'm going up to image trace and I'm clicking the 16 colors option. So this is going to work a little bit here. Okay, and then I'm clicking expand. And now I'm going to click off my image, go over to my direct selection arrow and click onto the background and click delete. So now I've got a pencil that I can edit without the background. So I can do that the same for my second image. Oh, whoops. I need to select 16 colors to preserve the color selection. And do the same thing. And then we're going to resize and edit this pencil. So to do that, you can click onto the pencil and use the anchor points to resize. Just expand there. Great. So I've got my pencil. If I hold shift and drag the anchor point, I'm obviously going to make it bigger. I can rotate here as well, and I can right click, transform, and I've got some options here to reflect, etc., etc. So the first thing to do is to turn this one into a letter form, and the example there I've got is a letter A. So I can hold Alt while hovering over my image and drag, and I will get a duplicate. I can right click, transform and reflect. And here is an option to turn it into a letter A, and you can continue to play around with that. But what I'd like to show you is how to manipulate this with part of a font as well. So to do that, we're going to go to the type tool, click and drag a text box and type a letter in. This example, I've got an A. So to edit the letter, we need to go right click, create outlines. So this has created some anchor points here that I can now edit. I'm then going to go over to the knife tool. The knife tool sits below the eraser tool. And if I zoom in, what I'd like is my pencil to be this stem of the letter form. So I'm going to click and drag where I'm going to cut my letter, just like that. I'm then going to select the direct selection tool and click that part of the letter to delete it. Okay, so I've got half my letter A now, and I can drag my object and manipulate it so that it fits nicely. So for this first introduction project, what I'd like you to do is to create a letter form using one object, such as the pencil, a letter form using 2 or more objects, and then a letter form using part font and part object. So this task we're going to work on using your own imagery when we come up to our major project.